of the things I was thinking is, instead of like when we make policy, public policy, here's the deal. Oh, man, hang on a second. All right. I'm trying to film with my phone while I can get some fresh air. Here's the deal. Instead of saying, how can I benefit the most? And take advantage of people to get ahead. What if we just said, what is fair in this decision that we're about to make for oil and gas or roads or whatever we're doing? The thing I think that's important to consider is that the world's getting more populated, and whether, well, let me say this again, man. The thing that's important to consider is when we think about what is fair, is that what happens to everybody in the world affects us. What happens to people in our country affects us. So isn't that the logical thing to be asking, instead of what's best for me or what's best for my community or race or state, is what is best for our world? Because we're getting more and more populated, and basically, however our political decisions help us, they also affect other people in our community, which then affects us. So we need to be thinking about not just how it helps us, but how it helps everybody. And what I've heard some people in the GOP say is that, this person we don't want in our party because they're continually going across the aisle and leaving us. We want what we want, and then, forget everybody else in a sense, because they're voting out or paying to vote out people that go across the aisle, which is, from what I've understood, heard J.D. Vance just say, that's why Massey was a friend of his. He said, in every single point, he didn't go with GOP. Well, I fact-checked it, and that's not true. He was with the GOP 90% of the time. But on the major points, he did not. Which is exactly what somebody should be doing. Massey is smart. He went to MIT as well. That tells you something. And here's my question for you, Mr. J.D. Vance. How is it that you wrote Hillbilly Elegy, gave a TEDx talk on the importance of helping families in Ohio and West Virginia that are in poverty, and when then Massey wants to go across the aisle to work together with the Democrats to help those in poverty, you have a problem with that? Why? Isn't that what you should be doing as well? I don't understand your position, Mr. Vance, JD. If I may so address you, because when you were giving the TEDx talk, I was helping go into prisons and visiting youth and running, a lawn care after leaving a software development job in Texas to work with at-risk youth. The very thing that you were advocating for, now saying you want traditional family values, What if the how about just family values? Because what if traditional family values are harmful? Do you still want to stick with those traditions when we learn something new? So, my question to everybody is, why don't we just ask what is fair for everybody and what's going to help everybody? Because in the end, as we know, if we are the United States of America, then how about us being united instead of thinking, okay, how can I protect myself and overturn an election so I can, still be the top dog in a sense? I think we need to be looking at people's brains in a sense. How is their brain wired in the womb and through experiences in life to equip them to lead a group of people? Are they inherently intelligent, able to structure policy, and at the same time empathetic to do it for everybody's benefit as a team would? When you have one person on a team, on a football team, not doing their job, it hurts everybody. If somebody's hurting on the team, then everybody hurts. And you got to go to your backup, second, third string, fourth string, and who may not have as much experience. And I feel like that's kind of where our country is right now, like on third or fourth string, running the country. Yeah, I said it. Too bad, because right now, in the view of, at least, we got third or fourth string running the country, third or fourth string in the sense of looking at everybody's benefit and not just one party's benefit. And so when Mr. J.D. Vance, you say, or the Vice President of the United States says, they're going across the aisle too much, and the President of the United States says, they're voting for Democrat, or they bring in too many Democrats, and I want to eliminate anybody that votes and tries to work out something with the Democrats, so that we Republicans have all the strength. And not only that, I'm going to literally take $1.7 billion because I felt I was unjustly examined, and I'm above being examined. So therefore, since you did that and I didn't like it, I want to take this money now that I'm president, and all of the people of my state and other states voted for. You're short-sighted is what I want to say, in the nicest way possible, because right now, if you are voting for just the GOP, and I'm not GOP, I'm not Democrat, I am human. I grew up in College Station, Texas, home of George H.W. Bush Library. If you want to call me a liberal, then fine, call me whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah, it does matter, because we're all affected by each other. Of course it matters. It matters to everybody. I'll get over it, though. But, it just shows, if you want to call me a liberal, because I didn't vote for Trump, how ignorant you are, I guess. I said that purposely ignorant to make you a little bit angry, because ignorant means to ignore. And the fact that I said that, I'm not for this group of people or this group of people, but for everybody, is ignoring what I said, which then makes a person, when they ignore truth, ignorant. It's just logic. So my point was, sometimes you just gotta stop and watch the geese land, tops, smell the roses, and watch the geese land. So I used to hunt geese with my dad in South Texas, and get up early in the morning. Man, I'm not a morning person, but I did because I love my dad and I want to spend time with him. That's why I went, because I was wanting connection with him. And to be honest, I wasn't a great shot, and every now and then my dad would miss too, and or we just wound the bird, break a wing, and they go down into the water, and my dad said, go get him. Or if I had shot it and went out and trying to get a wounded duck, out of water, and I'm running up to him, and he's there swimming for his life, and and then you almost get to him, they dive down the water and swim, trying to see where he is. Now for some people, it's no big deal, they just go and do it, but I'm thinking, man, I'm feeling sorry for the duck, I'm like, man, this duck was just, here he is, flying along with his family, looking for breakfast, and maybe doing a few turns, having some fun, because that's what I'd be doing if I was a duck. And then all of a sudden, boom, and your arm gets broken, and you go down the water, never to be able to fly again. Maybe, who knows? You don't know. So you got this broken arm, all of a sudden this big human comes after you, and so you're like swimming for your life, man. And I'm thinking, man, this duck's like swimming for its life, I don't know, not every hunter thinks about that. When I'm fishing with my dad, I'm thinking, all of a sudden imagine eating dinner with your family, and boom, you get pulled up out of the dining room through the roof, the water roof, and Dad's gone. It's like, where'd Dad go? All of a sudden he comes back down splashing in, if it's catch and release. He's got a big old swollen cheek from a hook being in his mouth. All I'm saying is that I think about those things, and not everybody does, because we're all different. Our brains wired different. And my brain is wired to think about that, and to also think about humans in that way, of how are these other people being affected as well. And my point is that, not talking for me, but we need people. That's the kind of people we want in office, running our country, people that are smart and intelligent, and also look out for the common good of everybody, not just one party. So when somebody's going across parties like Massey was, that's exactly what we want. That is logic, because what that means is that when it works for everybody, then there's less crime. Our CRF, the chemical that our brain secretes under stress that causes cortisol to go, that Dr. Nimrov studied, talks about happens in trauma, it decreases. Our stress decreases, cortisol decreases, inflammation decreases, and our health increases. Less insurance costs, less health costs in the country if we think about everybody and not just ourselves. And that right now is what the GOP is not doing by their very own words. Even redistricting right now is proof of your selfishness. Right now, you are doing something illogical, Republicans. Texas, what you did was selfish, from a selfish president. Right now, you did that. Undo it. From a son of College Station telling you if you did it, you can fucking undo it. In Tennessee, just stop it, man. My great-grandfather was in a Masonic orphanage in Tennessee and left when he was 16 years old. Took his little sister with him. Something happened to his parents. I don't know. I want to find out one day, but I guess they weren't being treated well. And you're still doing the same thing to the people of Tennessee. Shame on you. Shame on you for calling yourselves Christian. Seriously. Louisiana, same for you. My grandparents from from the Tennessee came down to Louisiana, and now you're doing the same thing. It disgusts me. Right now, you are being selfish. You're not helping yourself. You are so short-sighted. Man, you don't realize that. Do you know that AI that we're building, the strongest technology that's ever been invented, and that it literally is trained to follow what humans do? So right now we're selfishly redistricting. When AI gets to, super intelligence, do you think it's not going to know how to redistrict against humans? AI copies human behavior because it's trained on human behavior. So you are literally training the future ruler of the world that's not human on your bullshit. So stop it, motherfuckers. Stop. It's idiocy. It's stupidity. Think about it. Yeah, we redistrict now. We're all good. We don't care what happens to them. I mean, even if AI didn't happen, so you're happy just going along, it's all right, and watching them suffer? Evidently, obviously, because that's where it was in the South of my ancestors. So I can speak about it, motherfuckers. You are acting like ignorant people from 100, 200 years ago. And I'm saying this because whatever we do without AI or with it, whatever we do affecting somebody else is affecting our economy. They say, oh, we hate the crime. You stupid. That's like my dad saying to me, Brent, I wish you could finally choose something when he had all this chance to help me and he didn't. And then we complain about crime and say, oh man, it's too much crime. Well, yeah, because you're just ruling for yourself and not helping people. What do you think? Yeah, of course there's crime because you're selfish and you're not thinking about everybody, so there would not be crime. You're not smart enough to think about everybody and use AI to figure out how to help everybody so there won't be crime. Don't put it on somebody else. You're responsible. Man. And then we complain about healthcare, same thing. Oh, it's too much healthcare. Well, because you're fucking thinking about yourself, motherfuckers. That's why. Jesus Christ, man. And yeah, you don't like to say, oh, you can't say Jesus Christ. Do not use the Lord's name in vain while you go and vote for yourself and let people suffer. Jesus said, one man says that, I'm not going to do it and does it. And the other man says, I'm going to do it and doesn't do it. Well, you're the one who says, yeah, I'm going to do this, but you don't fucking do it. And Jesus said, the one who does it is the one who is righteous. So if you're going to say you're righteous and don't use the Lord's name in vain, then don't act and live your life with the Lord's name in vain either. And that's what you're doing right now. That's what you were doing by saying, hey, we're just going to vote for our party and let them suffer. And, do you know the story of the Good Samaritan? Man, that guy knows it. Wait a second. He said, motherfucker, he knows about the Good Samaritan. How is that? He knows about the Bible. How does he know that? Because I went to seminary, studied Greek, and tried to learn it until I could find out that even those in seminary studying Greek still had their presuppositions they brought to it to say this verse could be translated this way or this way, depending upon what I believe. Showing that the Bible doesn't necessarily have a 100% interpretation from God when we bring our own beliefs to it beforehand. And for me, it turns out that I believe that the Bible was from men's beliefs that wrote it down and saying it's from God in order to control people like we have done today. And so for me, it's more important. And why do I say that? That's used to control people? Because when it contradicts the reality of science, discovering. And God made this world, if you believe that, then only one of them can be right. And, we're able to test the lab experience and know that that's right here in this world, being science. Therefore, that means that whoever wrote that verse in the Bible, it was not coming from God. Point blank in the story. I know it's hard to hear that. It's hard for me to think about that too, being in seminary. That's why I went to try to get answers. And it's hard to leave that because it gives meaning to life. But there comes a time, when it's time to leave. As Jesus said, or God said, old things behind, childish things behind. And whoever wrote that at least hit upon a truth that I believe is true, universally. That, the Catholic Church had to learn with Galileo that we don't revolve around, the sun doesn't revolve around us. We revolve around the sun. And the church had to change. It took them a little while, but the church had to adjust to what science was saying, i.e. God was saying, that they previously thought what they were saying was God, and it was not. And same thing happens today as well with gender, because science is showing there is an amount of testosterone that masculinizes the brain that happens at a separate time from the body. And that amount of testosterone will masculinize the brain, but some people, everybody gets a different amount. And if it's a middle amount, or if it's a zero amount, it can identify as a female. The more it gets, the more chance of identifying as male. That's why we can have people that experience both male and female, which I have, which is why I'm able to say that, because I experience it, and the brain is where we experience things. And so somebody can't tell me, who has a completely male brain that hadn't experienced what I experienced, well, you're wrong. No, that's basically saying, you hit your hammer with you hit your thumb with a hammer, and you go, you're cussing, and you go, man, it hurts like hell, and they're going, oh man, no, it doesn't. You said hell, and it doesn't hurt. You just walk it off. It's like somebody telling you haven't had your experience when you have, and you want to say, man, you need to shut the hell up, and that's kind of what we're doing, I guess, in our country today. Is we're not willing to listen, even though Mr. Ben, I did read on your website, you talk about we should all listen, but then you're funding Ken Paxton and other legislators to tell parents how they should raise their kids. You're doing the very same thing. You're not listening. You don't like the government, the federal level, telling you what to do at the state level. Then at the state level, don't fucking tell the families what to do and how to raise their kids, because you are a hypocrite in doing that. And I think you know what that means from reading the Bible. Mr. Paxton, do you want to do this and carry out that? What's more important to you, your job, or doing what's best for the Texas people? Doing what is just for everybody? Because right now, what most of you are doing, redistricting lines, is you care more about yourself than other people, and that is leading America to destruction, to more crime, worse health. And that's what y'all are doing, because I guess you have a brain in a sense that doesn't care about ducks as much when they get wounded, and I accept that. But what I'm asking is, think about the wounded ducks, that we're chasing, that one day those people that we've legislated against may be our neighbor, or may have a kid that goes to medical school and saves your son, or that something else, maybe they get to be the ruling party and then they rule against you. It's like a back and forth of gang warfare, We both start attacking each other as soon as the next person gets elected. It reminds me of a movie I saw where these gangs were fighting, and the mothers had to bring the gang leaders together to talk and say, truce. Look, we're going to stop killing each other. That's what we need to start doing in this country. Stop killing each other. Stop legislating against each other. Stop redistricting lines to get an advantage over each other. I mean, I'm white, I'm from Texas. Last president I voted for was from Texas. I haven't voted for a president since then, not because I don't care, but because I want fairness and justice, and I'm waiting for somebody who has that I can vote for. I'm not trying to disgrace anybody or, put anybody down. I wanted President Trump and Vice President Vance. I know I've spoken strongly here, but I appreciate your efforts. I believe that you have the capacity to care for everybody, and that's what I'm asking you to consider, because that's what's really going to help our country, not a focus on anybody that disagrees with me is wrong. What if they're right? Are you willing to consider that? Because if the United States, if we're not willing to consider we're wrong, we're never going to be able to personally grow. And as a party, if any party's not willing to accept that they're wrong, then they could end up doing things, legislating things that are harmful. And that party's not going to be able to grow, the nation's not going to be able to grow, it's going to become stagnant. And that's what's happened. Our actions are showing that. Actions speak louder than words. You'll know them by their fruits. So if we call ourselves a Christian nation, then Mr. Vance, show me your fruit. Because right now, the fruit that I see is you're saying, hey, look, man, if you're going to look after those other guys, Mr. Massey, then we need to get rid of you. And that's what Mr. Trump's saying. And that's what Mr. Dunn is funding, to get rid of the other people that are looking after everybody. When, in essence, it's short-sighted. Because that's when crime goes up, healthcare goes up, and, it's not Christian either if that's what you hold to, while you force the other side to have, babies. Obviously you believe in everybody, because the other side's having babies, you're wanting them to have their babies, but then when they're born, you don't give a damn. You're not taking care of them, you're legislating against them. I call that torture instead of Christian. That's my thoughts, and that's just a 97 percentile pattern matching brain with Lyme disease that was had to happen upon an intelligence score test that I'm still trying to get the full test results from, because they and the government and the OCR have been dismantled so that I can't get them. And President Trump and others in UT and in Texas are holding them from me, and not literally breaking the law of HIPAA, Health Information Privacy Act, and not giving me my own records and my own intelligence from the University of Texas, while the tower proclaims, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." They're keeping my records captive. What do you think of that, College Station? Do you agree with that A&M farmers fight? Because my great-grandfather was a sharecropper. But what are you doing? You're voting for the president that's helping keep my records from one of your own neighbors. A perfect example of the GOP voting against somebody and not seeing it affect a member of their own town that grew up with them. That is the short-sightedness I'm talking about.